Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are doing well and good. So in the previous classes we have studied about the diseases caused by the microorganisms in human beings. Okay, so in the previous class I have given the table, right? Yeah. Today we are going to discuss about the diseases caused by the microorganisms in animals. Okay, and remember your microorganisms causes disease not only in animals and human beings but also in plants. You see, for example, there are some diseases, okay, which is common in both human beings and animals. You take for example anthrax. See, anthrax is a disease which is caused by a bacterium known as Bacillus anthracis. Okay, okay, anthrax is a disease in in human beings also we can see, and in and also in cattle also we can see. Okay, anthrax is caused by bacterium. Okay, yeah, remember this one. Anthrax is a disease which is common in both human beings and animals. Yeah, and one more disease is foot and mouth disease. Okay, foot and mouth disease. This is a disease which is very common in cattle, which is caused by virus. Okay, and the scientist who discovered the bacterium which causes anthrax, he is known as Robert Koch. Okay, he is a scientist, he is a microbiologist. So he discovered the bacterium, okay, known as Bacillus anthracis, which causes anthrax. Okay, and now your microbes, I told you earlier, I told you microbes not only causes disease in human beings and animals, it also causes diseases in plants. Yeah, see, these are the some of the plant diseases and the type of the microorganism, mode of transmission they have given in your textbook. So I want you to copy this this table in your classwork. Okay, so in this one we can get a wide variety of questions. Okay, say for example, yeah, say for example, fungi causes which of the following disease? Okay, citrus canker, rust of wheat, yellow vein. So you have to identify rust of wheat very correctly. Okay, so like that you should identify, you should remember all these things. Yeah, yeah, see, your microorganisms causes not only diseases but also they spoil the food also. Okay, sometimes you must have seen, right? You must have seen pickles in your home. Sometimes what will happen in your pickles, you can see some white color patches, right? They are that white color patches are known as fungi. Okay, so that means it is for spoiling the food. Okay, if it takes that spoiled food, it causes food poisoning. Okay, it ultimately leads to death also in some cases. Yeah, so what we should do, so in order to preserve the food, we will use so many methods for the food preservation. So there are different methods, there are known as chemical method. If you see chemical methods, we use so different we use chemicals like sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate. Okay, these are the chemicals which we use to preserve so many food items like jams and squashes. Squashes are nothing but some drinks. Okay, so don't get confused. Food like pickles, have you ever tasted the pickles? You must have seen pickles in your home, right? Pickles are somewhat salty in taste, and also your pickle is having so much of oil content also. Okay, so why? Because it helps the pickle, because they are like, they act like a preservatives. Okay, it helps us to preserve the pickle for a long time so that we can use throughout the year. If you see mango pickle, see, mangoes are seasonal, right? We will not get mangoes throughout the year. So what we should do, what we will do, we make mango pickle and we use throughout the year, right? Yeah, see, we use some common salt also. Yeah, common salt also as an preservative. See, you must have tasted some dry fish, right? So dry fish, in some dry fish are somewhat salty in taste. You must have observed this one. Yeah, see, fish, meat, amla, raw mangoes, tamarind. These are the some of the food items we use. These are some of the food items which we preserve with the help of the salt. Yeah, we use sugars also in jams and jellies. That's why they are tasty, right? They are sweet. That's why they are sweets. Okay, squashes, jams, jellies. Okay, we use sugar. And next one is we use oil and vinegar. Okay, vinegar. Remember, vinegar. Another name of vinegar is also known as acetic acid. We use oil and vinegar. Okay, in pickles also we use vinegar. Oils also we use. Okay, in preparing non-veg also sometimes some chefs they use vinegar. Okay, so all these methods helps us to prevent the growth of microorganisms. Yeah, this is the very famous method. Yeah, by heating and cold treatment. Okay, so what we should do, see, if you observe milk, we heat the milk, right, so that the milk will not spoil. Okay, so there is a method known as pasteurization. Okay, this method was discovered by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur. See, Louis Pasteur we already studied in the previous classes. Okay, Louis Pasteur discovered fermentation, and he also discovered pasteurization. Okay, and one more interesting fact about Louis Pasteur is Louis Pasteur also invented the vaccine for anthrax. Okay, remember this one. See, whatever Louis Pasteur did. Louis Pasteur discovered pasteurization. Okay, discovered fermentation, and he also invented vaccine for anthrax. So in pasteurization, what we'll do, especially we see in milk dairies, we see this pasteurization. On milk packets also you can see this word pasteurization, pasteurized milk. Okay, toned milk, pasteurized milk. So what exactly pasteurization means? Pasteurization is nothing but, first we will heat the milk up to 70 degrees. About exactly 70 degrees we heat the milk for 15 to 30 seconds, and then immediately we will chill. That means we will cool the milk immediately. So how it is helpful? It is helpful to prevent the growth of microorganisms. This method is known as pasteurization, discovered by Louis Pasteur. Yeah, you must have seen you like some packaged food, right? Yeah, if you see Lay's packets and all, Lay's, Kurkure, so they are stored in a airtight containers, airtight packets, right? So like that, with like this, by storing and packing also helps us to protect our foods from microbial attacks. Okay, and next is we are going to study about the nitrogen cycle. Okay, nitrogen cycle. See it, what nitrogen cycle, if you observe, see what is the percentage of nitrogen in our atmosphere? 78%. Okay, 78%. 78% of nitrogen is present in our air. So in your previous classes you have studied that nitrogen is fixed by a bacteria known as, see here, nitrogen is present in the air, and this nitrogen is fixed by the nitrogen fixing bacteria and blue green algae. So what is the name of the bacteria which fixes nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, into the soil? Your rhizobium. Okay, rhizobium. Rhizobium fixes atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. Okay, and also sometimes lightning happens, right? Lightning. See, in lightning also, your lightning also fixes nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, into the soil. That means your nitrogen is in the soil now. So now what your plants do? Nitrogen, the fixed nitrogen is taken up by the plants. Okay, why, you may ask, sir, why plants take nitrogen? Because nitrogen is a major component in chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is a green colored pigment present in plant leaf. Okay, with the help of chlorophyll only plants capture sunlight. Okay, suppose if nitrogen is not there, there won't be sufficient chlorophyll for plants. Okay, if there is no chlorophyll, no process of photosynthesis. If there is no photosynthesis, no synthesis of food. If there is no food, then there won't be, it is impossible to imagine the nature, okay, without the process of photosynthesis. See, and your some animals eats plants, right? They are known as herbivores. Some herbivores takes plants, eats plants, okay. And we also, and human beings also, we also take plant products, and also we consume leafy vegetables also. So we, animals eat plant and they digest and they releases the nitrogenous waste, okay, through excretion or death, okay. Through where we'll excrete in the soil only, right? Our excreta goes to soil, and after death, where we will go? We will go to the soil only. That means again your soil, your nitrogen come back to the soil, okay. Suppose assume that all the 78% of nitrogen present in the air fixes in the soil. Then what will happen? It leads to the imbalance in the nature, okay. What, see, nature is designed like that. See, there are some bacteria, okay, we call that one as the denitrifying bacteria. So what they do, they converts the fixed nitrogen again into the gaseous nitrogen, okay. See, that's why again it is going back to the nature, okay. See, here some bacteria, interestingly, is fixing the nitrogen. It is converting the nitrogen into nitrates, okay. And again these nitrates are converted back into atmospheric nitrogen with the help of denitrifying bacteria. See, if you see, it is like a cycle, okay. It is like a cycle. It is rotating, right? Every time it is rotating. See, every time rhizobium fixes nitrogen, plants take nitrogen, fixed nitrogen, and animals eats, and we die, we excrete, it comes back to the soil. Again the denitrifying bacteria converts the fixed nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen. So it is like a cycle, it is rotating like this. So we call this one as the nitrogen cycle. And what is the advantage of this one? It helps, because of the nitrogen cycle only, the nitrogen quantity present in the air, that is 78%, is balanced in the nature. It's because of the nitrogen cycle. Assume if there is no nitrogen cycle, so at one point of time your air will not be having any nitrogen, okay, students. Yeah, I hope you all have understood the session, okay. That's all for today. Please note down the homework. This is your homework. Please note down and write the homework in your classwork, okay. So these are some of the general questions which and we see this is related to your daily life also, okay. Please think of these questions and write. And if you don't know anything, if you have any doubts, you can contact me at any point of time using any media, okay. Okay, students, thank you so much. That's all for today, and have a nice day.